Most people spend their entire lives chasing freedom, but they end up more trapped than ever before. They are trapped in jobs they don't enjoy, trapped in routines they never chose, and worst of all, trapped in the belief that someday their 9 to 5 will finally make them happy. But here's something that might upset you. You will never find true happiness in a traditional job, not because work itself is bad, but because real happiness is connected to freedom. And freedom doesn't come from a steady paycheck. This video is going to challenge everything you've been told about work, security, and what it means to live a fulfilling life. If you're someone who values your time and wants real control over your future, keep watching. But if you're comfortable staying exactly where you are, this probably isn't for you. Let's start with the biggest lie our society tells us: that a 9 to 5 job equals security and happiness. The story goes like this: go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work for 40 years, then retire and finally enjoy life. But here's a problem with this plan. The more you depend on a job, the less free you actually become. Your income isn't yours, it belongs to your boss. Your schedule isn't yours, it's set by a company policy. Your location isn't yours, you go where the office is. Even your vacation time isn't really yours. You have to seek permission to use it. Think about this for a moment. When Sunday night arrives, how do you feel? Most people experience what researchers call the pre-Monday blues. That sinking feeling in your stomach, knowing Monday is coming. When Friday arrives, that's a relief. But here's the question: if you're living for the weekend, what does that say about the other 5 days of your week? You're essentially trading the majority of your waking hours for someone else's dream, while hoping that someday, somehow, this will lead to your own happiness. But it rarely does. The traditional employment model was designed for a different world. It was created during the Industrial Revolution when people needed to work in factories, following strict schedules and doing repetitive tasks. But we don't live in that world anymore. Today, we have the internet. We have technology that allows someone to work from anywhere, create value for people across the globe, and build income streams that aren't tied to trading hours for dollars. Yet most people still follow the old model because it's what they know. Here's what happens in most jobs. You spend your most productive hours, your best energy, and your sharpest thinking working on someone else's vision. By the time you get home, you're exhausted. You have maybe 3 to 4 hours before you need to sleep, and you're supposed to use this leftover time and energy to build the life you actually want. It's no wonder most people feel stuck. Studies show that over 70% of people are disengaged at work. They show up, they do the minimum required, and they count down the hours until they can leave. This isn't because people are lazy, it's because they are not working on something that matters to them. When you don't have control over your work, when it doesn't align with your values, and when it doesn't allow you to grow in the direction you want to go, something inside you starts to die. You might not notice it at first, but over time, that feeling of something is missing grows stronger. So, what is real freedom? It's not about never working or lying on a beach all day. Real freedom is autonomy, the ability to make choices about your life based on what you think is important, not what someone else decides for you. Freedom means waking up and choosing what projects to work on. It means choosing who you spend your time with. It means having your income reflect your effort and value creation, not someone else's budget or their opinion of your worth. Ancient philosophers understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of living according to your own principles rather than being controlled by external circumstances. The Stoics talked about the difference between what's in your control and what isn't, and they focused their energy on what they could control. When you work a traditional job, most of what affects your life is outside your control. Your boss's mood determines your day. Company policies determine your schedule. Market conditions determine whether you keep your job. You are essentially renting your life to someone else and hoping they treat you well. Now, I know not all jobs are like that, but statistically speaking, most fall into the category. But there's another way to think about work and life. Instead of trading time for money, you can create value for money. Instead of being dependent on one income source, you can build multiple streams. Instead of asking for permission, you can make decisions based on what you think is right. The solution isn't to avoid work altogether, it's to work for yourself instead of working for someone else. This is where the concept of a one-person business comes in. A one-person business allows you to take your skills, knowledge, and experience and turn them into income streams that work for you. You don't need employees, you don't need investors, you don't need a fancy office or expensive equipment. You just need the willingness to create value for other people and the persistence to figure out how to deliver it. Here's what many people don't realize. Every single person has valuable knowledge and experience. You know things that other people would pay to learn. You have solved problems that other people are currently struggling with. You have perspectives and insights that could help others make better decisions. The internet has made it possible for anyone to find their audience and create income from their expertise, whether it's through online courses, consulting, writing, creating digital products, or providing services. There are more opportunities now than ever before to build a business around what you know. But here's the key difference. When you build for yourself, you're not just making money, you're building an asset. Every piece of content you create, every relationship you build, every skill you develop adds to something that belongs to you. In a job, all of that value goes to your employer. Making this transition requires a fundamental shift in how you think about work, security, and risk. Most people have been conditioned to believe that a job is safe and entrepreneurship is risky. But let's examine this belief. In a job, you have one source of income. If that source disappears, you have nothing. You have no control over company decisions, market changes, or economic conditions that might affect your position. Your skills might become obsolete, but you have no say in what direction the company goes. When you build multiple income streams through your own business, you are actually reducing risk. If one stream slows down, you have others. If the market changes, you can adapt quickly because you make the decisions. If technology evolves, you can evolve with it because you're not waiting for someone else to decide your company's direction. The real risk is depending entirely on someone else for your financial security while having no control over the factors that determine whether that security continues. This also requires changing how you think about failure. In a job, failure often means getting fired or missing a promotion, consequences that feel permanent and devastating. When you're building for yourself, failure becomes feedback. Each attempt teaches you something that makes the next attempt better. So how do you actually make this transition? The key is to start while you still have your job, not after you quit. Use your current income as a safety net while you build something new. First, identify what value you can provide. What problems have you solved? What skills have you developed? What knowledge do you have that others need? Don't assume that because something is easy for you, it's not valuable. Often, the things that come naturally to us are exactly what others struggle with. For me, it was fitness. Second, start sharing the value online. Create content around your expertise. Write about the problems you have solved. Make videos explaining concepts you understand. Answer questions in online communities. The goal isn't to make money immediately. It's to build an audience of people who find your perspective helpful. Third, look for ways to help people solve their problems. This might start with free advice, but gradually you will identify opportunities to create paid solutions. Maybe it's a course teaching others what you know. Maybe it's consulting services. Maybe it's creating tools or resources that make people's lives easier. The internet rewards people who consistently provide value. If you show up regularly, share useful insights, and genuinely try to help others, you'll build a following of people who trust your expertise. But I don't have any special skills. Everyone has skills. You just might not recognize them as valuable. The ability to organize information, communicate clearly, solve problems, manage time, work with people, these are all skills that others would pay to develop. But what if I fail? You're already failing if you're spending the best years of your life doing work that doesn't fulfill you. The question isn't whether you might fail, it's whether you want to fail while building something that matters to you or fail while building someone else's dream. But I need the security of a steady paycheck. Security is an illusion. Companies go out of business, industries change, technology disrupts entire sectors. The only real security comes from developing the ability to create value regardless of external circumstances. But I don't know how to start a business. Neither did anyone else before they started. Business skills are learned through practice, not through theory. Start small, learn as you go, and gradually build your capabilities. If all of this sounds good, check out the first link down below. I got something that will benefit you. Here's what life looks like when you successfully build for yourself instead of working for someone else. You wake up excited about your work because it's aligned with your interests and values. You don't need permission to try new ideas or take time off. Your income reflects the value you create rather than arbitrary salary ranges. You can work from anywhere with an internet connection. Most importantly, you are building something that compounds over time. Every year, your business gets stronger, your skills get better, and your freedom increases. Compare this to a job where you are essentially starting over every day, trading hours for dollars with no equity in what you're doing. This doesn't mean entrepreneurship is easy or that success is guaranteed. It requires more responsibility, more decision making, and more uncertainty than a traditional job. But for many people, the trade-off is worth it because they're finally working towards something that belongs to them. The truth is, happiness isn't found in a bigger salary or better benefits. It's found in freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, who you work with, and what problems you solve. You won't find that freedom inside a traditional job because jobs are designed to serve the company's needs, not yours. You only find it when you stop renting your life to someone else and start building for yourself. The tools and opportunities exist today for anyone willing to take responsibility for their own future. The internet has democratized business creation in ways that didn't exist even 20 years ago. The question isn't whether you are capable of building something for yourself. You are. The question is whether you are willing to trade the illusion of security for the reality of freedom. If you're ready to start that journey, begin today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not after you have read 10 more books or watched 50 more videos. Start with what you know, help one person, solve one problem, and build from there. Your future self will thank you for having the courage to begin when it was difficult, rather than waiting until it was comfortable. Because here's the thing about comfort. It's the enemy of growth. And growth is what leads to the freedom you are really seeking. The choice is yours. Spend the next 10 years building someone else's dream or spend it building your own, but choose consciously because not choosing is still a choice and it's usually the wrong one. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and do check out the first link down below to start working on something that will make you happy, not just from 9 to 5 but 24/7, 365.